Hello, my name is Drew. I'm 14 years old and I've been diving for 3 years. I'm an advanced open water diver with the specialities of DSMB, dry suit diver and shark awareness. I'm now working towards my junior dive master course. I really enjoy rugby and Thai boxing. Here you see a picture of a beautiful beach that I bet you'd like to go to, but what really lies underneath the surface of the water. Modern day living, isn't it just great? As a diver, I feel that I'm privileged to see the different species that inhabit the underwater world. However, I also get to see how that life is being destroyed by the abuse of modern day living. Whilst I'm fortunate to be able to see the wonders of the sea, I also get to see the negative impacts of our plastic society. I suddenly realise not everyone gets to experience these sights, and I feel it's my duty to show the world the delights and the sights and show them the unknown impact their daily lives are having on our oceans and watercourses. Hopefully this will help them to make the changes and make a huge difference. How is plastic affecting the sea? 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic is in our oceans. This number does not include the vast quantities of microplastic. Microplastic is not a specific kind of plastic, but they are a piece of plastic fragment less than 5 millimeters in length. We produce more than 30 million tonnes of plastic waste each year. This number is rising. Yet all the plastic waste ever created, only 9% is being recycled, and the rest has either been incinerated or been discarded. Nearly every piece of plastic ever manufactured still exists today. How plastic is affecting the sea life. 100 million marine animals die each year from plastic, and 100,000 marine animals die from getting entangled in plastic. Marine animals mistakenly feed on the microplastic and then ingest it. The chemicals gather in the animal, then the plastic is passed up the food chain. Not only are the animals eating the plastic, they are also getting tangled up in it, especially in ghost gear. Then the animals will then unable to feed and cause injuries and infections. Ghost gear is any discarded, lost or abandoned fishing gear that ends up in the sea. This is a picture of a food chain including plastic. The small plankton feed on the microplastic, and then fish will then eat the plankton, and then we will eat the fish. How are coral reefs being affected by plastic? In normal conditions, around 4% of corals suffer from disease. When corals encounter plastic pollution, that rate jumps into 89%. Plastic can end up covering a coral, blocking the sunlight, and allowing disease to thrive in shaded places. A sharp piece of plastic can stab a coral, creating a wound for bacteria to infect. Plastic can act as a raft for pathogens to travel on, making it more likely for them to come in contact with a coral. A pathogen is an organism that can produce disease. 11 billion pieces of plastic are killing our coral reefs. How is plastic getting into the sea? Wastewater, wind, rain and floods carry plastic from the land into the oceans, especially single-use plastic. Bags, straws, cotton buds or wrappers, which all being lightweight, are easily carried on the wind to the coast or find their way onto the river network before reaching the sea. Due to their size, microplastics, less than 5 millimeters in size, are easily transported. Scientists have found microplastics are pretty much everywhere. They have found microplastic on mountains, in the ocean, in the Arctic sea ice and in our air, drinking water and bodies. With the largest population, China produced the largest quantity of plastic at nearly 60 million tonnes. Then it was the United States at 38 million, Germany at 14.5 million and Brazil at 12 million. How is plastic affecting the Arctic? Plastic is affecting all of the world, even the Arctic. Experts calculated that Arctic-wide there are around 40 microplastic particles per cubic metre of water. Synthetic fibres are the dominant source of microplastic at 92.3%, with the majority consisting of polyester. Microplastic particles are falling out of the sky with snow. Scientists said they were shocked at the sheer number of particles they found. more than 100,000 of them per litre in the Arctic. The plastic is even getting into the polar bear's digestive system. If a polar bear ingests plastic, it can make the polar bears irritable and aggressive. Research has shown possibly due to the painful blockages in their stomach. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The garbage patch is created in the North Pacific's gyre. A gyre is a system of circulating currents in an ocean. Over time, gyres can spit out debris that accumulates in them. For example, that can be seen on beaches in Hawaii and other islands that are faced northeast. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a collection of marine debris in the North Pacific Ocean. Marine debris is litter that ends up in the oceans, seas, and other large bodies of water. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is also known as the Pacific Trash Vortex. The patch covers an estimated surface area of 1.6 million square kilometres, the size of Texas or 3 times the size of France. Once the plastic has entered the patch, they are unlikely to leave the area until they decay into smaller microplastics under the effect of the sun, waves and marine life. As more plastic is discarded into the environment, microplastic concentration in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch will only continue to increase. How has COVID-19 affected the sea? COVID-19 triggered an estimated global use of 129 billion face masks and 65 billion gloves every month. If we stitch together all the masks that have ever been manufactured, we'd be able to cover the entire landmass of Switzerland. A partial problem with the gloves and the masks finding their way into our rivers and oceans is that they can easily be mistaken for jellyfish, a favourite food for the sea turtles. How are humans being affected with plastic? Plastic is not only affecting animals, but is affecting us as humans as well. The microplastic are entering our bodies when we ingest them, like when we eat fish. This can then lead to multiple problems including inflammation, apoptosis and necrosis, which are all linked to an array of negative health outcomes including cancer and cardiovascular diseases. Apoptosis is a form of cell death that occurs in multicellular organisms, and necrosis is the death of body tissue. How are the ocean cleanup helping to get rid of plastic? Ocean Cleanup have made a netting system that uses a combination of natural forces and a sea anchor to create a drag, which then makes the system move consistently slower than the plastic, while allowing the plastic to be captured. After fleets of systems are deployed into every ocean, combined with a source of reduction, the Ocean Cleanup predicts that they will be able to remove 90% of the plastic by 2040. How are ghost diving helping to get rid of ghost gear? Ghost Diving is a registered charity organisation of volunteer technical divers specialised in the removal of lost ghost fishing gear and other marine debris since 2007. Ghost Diving is the largest international diving organisation working on ghost fishing topic. Around 640,000 tonnes of ghost gear ends up in the ocean every year, accounting for about 10% of the world's marine debris. What simple changes can you make to save our aquatic life? Use reusable produce bags. Don't use plastic straws. Go for metal or plastic ones. Pack your lunch in an eco-friendly container. Don't use plastic bags. Use reusable water bottles and don't buy bottled water. Use biodegradable poo bags for your dog. And when you get to takeaway, don't take the plastic knife or fork. Take the reusable ones. Don't use plastic bags or cling film to wrap your sandwiches. Instead, use a reusable wrap for your reusable box. Glass bottles are more environmentally friendly to make due to their lower greenhouse gas emissions, and on cans you get these rings that hold the cans. Here are some key facts. 100% of turtle species are known to have ingested plastic. 129 billion face masks are being produced a month and 1,589 billion a year. 65 billion plastic gloves are being used per month and 780 billion a year. 15% of a chick's body weight could be plastic. 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic is in our sea. 11 billion of plastic is killing coral reefs, and 60 million tonnes of plastic is being produced by China. It takes 400 years for a plastic bottle to break down, and it takes 500 for a plastic bag. You've just had a drink from your local shop. That will then take 400 years to break down. Even then it will only turn into microplastic. Have I convinced you to make a change? Instead of using a plastic bottle, get a reusable bottle. When you're out, don't use gloves, use hand sanitizer. Don't use a disposable face mask, use a washable one. Don't use a plastic bag for your food, use a wax wrapping. Don't buy plastic straws, buy metal or paper ones. When you go shopping, don't buy plastic bags. Take your own reusable one. Try use bottles instead of cans, and if you do buy a can, snap all the rings so animals cannot get entangled in it. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Hopefully I've convinced you to make a few changes to help save our ocean.